welcome to the channel. I'm Summer. Today we are doing another comparison cutting tutorial. We are comparing a stationary guide to a traveling guide for a butterfly haircut. I have full tutorials on both of these haircuts that I'll leave linked below for you to check out, but I am excited to break down these cuts side by side and to hear from you all which one you like best. We are going to be talking about hair care importance while breaking down these layers, and later in the video I will be mentioning about some amazing skincare products, as well as City Beauty has sponsored today's video, and I am so excited to share with you what I love from this company. Sponsorships are a huge part of me being able to continue to make free content for all of you to watch and learn, so let's get started. Okay, so we are gonna get started. I loosely already have her sectioned off because one side's gonna be stationary, one side's going to be traveling, so I've just got the one clipped off over here. And I am gonna be setting my guide though for both sides the same, and that's what we're gonna start off with. And then this right side is what I'll be starting off with, and that is going to be our stationary guide where we're bringing everything forward. So for both of these cuts in the full tutorials, I set my guide by first creating a triangular section. You wanna sort of come to the base of the eyebrow on both sides. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna come into the center to set your guide. And your guide would be however long or short you want your front face framing pieces to be. The last one I did that is the traveling guide. I cut it shorter in my layers, so I'm gonna leave these a little bit longer like I did in the original OG butterfly haircut. So we're gonna do it below her chin. So we're gonna get some flow, but it'll be a nice good comparison, especially to see the difference. I'll just do it right under the chin. So you're gonna come in with the fine side of your comb. I'm gonna grab my shears. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna come straight out from the head. We're not lifting up, we're coming straight out. And you wanna find where your guide is. So I'm cutting just barely below the jawline. So if it was the nose, you would kind of adjust your fingers to make sure you're there. So you're gonna come out. I'm gonna get some tension there. We're looking good. And cut. So we got a good amount of length here that we're gonna have a nice flowy face frame. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna separate this again back down the middle, because this side here is going to be our traveling guide, where this side is gonna be the stationary, and I wanna keep them separate. Just gonna clip that out of the way so we don't grab it at all. So now that we have this original guide set, we're gonna come back into this triangle section, and I'm gonna finish I can't talk today. I'm gonna finish setting my guide sort of first before we move into how I do the side layers. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this next piece and you're gonna come back to this middle point, to wherever your client parts your hair. So we're not coming straight out here, we're bringing it over back towards the front. See your guide, try to line up in that middle. Try not to block the camera for you guys. And cut. Take your next section. Over direct back to that center point. Cut. So when you do a stationary guide, what you're doing is you're always coming back to your center point, to where you created that very first guide. What this does is it creates more weight and more length all throughout the haircut, and as we move into the back, you're gonna get that nice flowy butterfly shape, but you're gonna have a lot more length left back here. So I'll be discussing who that's beneficial for, because it all just depends on what it is that you're wanting. So now that we have set our guide, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back to the edge of this point here. And we're just gonna use that as our guide, and we're gonna go straight across the head and completely take out this very top section. So go all the way back around to the crown area, And we're just gonna clip this up out of the way. Before we do that, I want to say thank you to City Beauty for sponsoring today's video. City Beauty is a luxury skincare brand that uses clean, research-driven ingredients to target specific skin concerns. I have been using some of their products over the last few months, and I want to share what I love from this company. I'm so obsessed. My favorite products to use for my skincare routine is their Eye Revive Firming Serum and the Uplift Firming Serum. These two products are the first that I apply. The Eye Revive Firming Serum is great for hydrating and tightening the skin around your eyes. My skin in general is dry, but my eye area tends to be like extra dry, so I love how hydrating this is. I just apply this around my eye, gently working the product into my skin, and it also helps reduce the look of fine lines and wrinkles by tightening and firming the skin. I know I'm young, but these wrinkles are trying to creep up and I am not here for them, so I love this product. I follow it up with the Uplift Firming Serum. This is again a product that's going to tighten and hydrate the skin. As we age, good old gravity, it just starts trying to drag down our skin. So this is the perfect product to fight that. It's gonna recharge your skin's appearance and create that lifting effect. I love products like this because I am personally trying to stall the aging process as much as I can, and good skincare is key for that. I also use their Blue Defense Hydro Gel as my moisturizer. This is super hydrating, which my skin loves. It's the last thing I put on either before bed or I fully allow it to absorb into my skin before putting on my makeup. My favorite thing about all three of these products is how they feel when going on my skin. All of them have this very cool, refreshing feeling when being applied, and all I need is like some good, relaxing spa music, and I feel like I'm getting a facial. And to top it off, of course, they have an amazing body balm, their Invisicrate Body Balm. This is again super hydrating. We have quite the theme here if you didn't notice. On top of the hydration, this is also going to help smooth your skin, leading to firmer and a more supple look. And the best part of this product is that there is no sticky, oily, or filmy feeling on the skin after using it. It's very light to the touch, but super hydrating, and that is what my skin needs. I will leave all of these products linked below. First 100 customers to use promo code SummerBeauty will receive 30% off site-wide, and after that you can still save 15% off site-wide with the promo code SummerBeauty. So go ahead, check them out. I have loved every product that I have used from them. Take care of your hair and skin. You won't regret it, and thank you City Beauty for sponsoring this portion of the video. This is gonna be the last section you cut for the layering. And then you could even, if you want, pull these front pieces out just so you don't cut them. But you wanna leave the corner out because this is gonna be the guide that you set for moving into your side layers. So the way that I like to do the stationary guide with my butterfly layers, instead of coming just at a straight up and down sectioning here, we're actually gonna be taking it at an angle. I did this in my very original haircut, and I did it in the one I recently did with the traveling guide. But what the point of the diagonal is, it just keeps it a little bit softer. So again, we're coming straight forward. Everything from here, this point on, all to the back, is gonna come straight forward back to the same point. So we're gonna come forward, and I'm going to angle slightly up because I wanna maintain a little bit more weight and thickness. If you came straight out, you're gonna get a tiny bit of a harder line. It's gonna remove a little bit more length, but by over directing it up, you just preserve just slightly a little bit more length, and it helps soften it as it flows. So I'm coming straight forward and blending that right in. And actually, I messed up a little bit. I am cutting longer than what this guide is. So my mistake, gotta be honest here, but I'll show you how you correct that, because if you left it too long, that's fine. You can always remove more length. It's when you cut it too short that you can go back in. So we wanna keep in mind our guide that's here in the front. That's where our shortest point is going to be. So come forward, angling up. I see my guide right here at the top of my fingers, and cut. So we're removing a little bit more length than what I originally had done. So I'm gonna grab that bottom piece, straight forward, and cut. So If you cut too much length, don't freak out. There's always something you can do to blend it in and tweak it. But if you accidentally leave the length, it's much easier to fix. So we're gonna come back into our next section, keep that diagonal, going back, and I like to clip this hair out of the way. We're gonna grab that original guide. I'm gonna cut this in half just so I can grab a nice even section, and we're coming straight forward, back to our guide point. We're angling up and just blend right in. So as you let this hair down, you can see already the angle that's starting to form. Combing everything straight forward. We're angling slightly up. Cut. And as you get into the back, you're not gonna have as much hair always to cut, just because combing everything forward, because it's a stationary guide, you do lose the length just because it's not always gonna meet up. So you'll cut more of like the top sections of the back, but your base down here is most likely you're not gonna cut at all. So we're just working all the way around the head. I'm gonna show you from a different angle. So I'm standing on the side of the mannequin and I'm coming directly straight forward, back to that original guide that we cut. Just a little bit there. And actually at this point we have run out of hair. I'm gonna double check this last little bit. Coming all the way forward. We got maybe a little bit on that top. Gonna grab my guide here. Nope, yep, we do have some. If you're unsure if you've run out of hair, always just grab that very front guide and that'll tell you whether or not you have hair to cut or not to cut. Okay, so we have this front layers and our back done. And one thing with the butterfly haircut you always wanna think of, your front sections and along the face are the wings, where this back area remains like your body. So with the stationary guide, everything's coming forward to create those wings, but because you're bringing it forward, you maintain that thick, full body of our butterfly and you'll have more length, which is so lovely. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna move into the top and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna connect these layers through the back and through the sides. Alrighty, so to blend in our top section here is fairly easy, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna come in and grab from that first original guide, and we're just gonna be going across the head here where this section is. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna just come forward slightly, and we're going to be angling up and find where our old guide was and cut. So you pulled straight up, you're angling, twisting your fingers forward, cutting to blend that in, and then you're gonna grab your next piece and you're gonna kind of move back towards to lead into your back section essentially. So come up, twist, find that old guide and just blend right into that. And then as you get to this crown area, you're sort of gonna comb the hair then sort of straight off where it rounds, coming up and twisting. And what this is gonna do is blend completely into those back layers. And we're gonna twist all the way up. You see this hair is falling. So we've connected. I'm gonna grab a little bit further down here just to make sure we've gotten all of our side. Still combing straight up. We have a little bit of that old section from the top. And twisting on this back area. Perfect. So we have our stationary side done first. We're gonna see a lot more thickness and weight overall in this side of the head compared to when we now move into our traveling layers. And I can't wait to see the side-by-side comparison. I love doing these videos. You guys seem to like them. And I don't know which one I'm gonna like better. So we're gonna let down this side of the hair, and I'm actually gonna clip up our other section to just keep that out of the way so there's no accidental snips. So what we're going to be doing is, let me come back into that triangle. We're gonna be doing similar how we did on the other one, because we still have to set the layers here for our front guide. But instead of taking our next section and coming back to the center, we're going to be moving it over because you're creating that traveling guide. So this, coming straight forward, is creating a stationary guide. You're bringing all the weight towards the one section. So what we're gonna do is we have taken hair from our first guide, we've taken our new section, and we're coming more so straight out how we would a regular section for creating layers. Cut. We're gonna take our last section of our guide here and we're moving with it. So you're almost kind of like coming center out of where your next guide is. Cut. So now that we have our guide set, what we're gonna do is take our section, same as we did the other side, we're coming right along where our triangle ends. And we're just gonna go all the way back through the crown. And we're gonna clip this out of the way. And I'm gonna spritz her back down. She's kind of drying out a little bit. And then I'm gonna leave this corner piece out and clip out our beginning guide. So we're still gonna move in diagonal sections how we did with our stationary guide. And I am going to, this is still gonna come forward a little bit, but I'm gonna bring it out just slightly more so you guys, so we get a little bit more movement. Okay, so to create our first layer here, instead of coming straight forward, I'm trying to show you, I feel like I keep blocking her for you guys. So instead of coming straight forward, we're gonna be coming a little bit out. Keep note of where this guide is. We're still gonna be angling up some. I see my guide at the top, my fingers are still twisted. Cut. We're gonna take our next section, keeping with that diagonal line. Grab your guide to make sure you're cutting right. You can split this in half if you want. And again, we're still coming forward. So like we're over directing, we're just not coming all the way forward. So we're gonna have a lot more movement and shape. So you don't wanna come straight out from the side of the head. You wanna just go lightly forward, over directing, still twisting up to create a little bit of an angle, and cut. Grab your bottom section. Cut. And you'll just continue doing this same all the way back through till you get to the middle section of the head. So, try to show you from a different angle. We're coming forward still slightly, angling up, cut. So if you were coming straight out, you would have just a little bit there, but we took off more length by coming out from the head. Oh, and I need to cut that whole piece. I'm using the fine side of my comb to comb this hair. Over directing slightly forward, twisting my fingers up, cutting. Gonna finish this back section. We're coming forward, over directing slightly forward, angling up. And we have about 2 more sections in this back area before we will be through our back and sides. So I'm coming from this back. See how much hair is left between this section and the front, because we're not coming all the way forward. It's almost like you want to stay behind your previous section that you just took. Cut. So as you notice, I'm cutting not like a ton, but a good amount more throughout this back. Then once we got to like this section on the other side, we had no more hair left to cut. So for the final back section, I'm gonna take from what we just had. This is coming straight out at an angle. So here's her back. So I'm pushing it forward, angling up. But look how much more hair there is there to cut. And then what I'm doing right now, this would be a great way to check this to make sure you removed enough length where you're coming in at a different angle. Sometimes it's a little easier. And let that fall. So we've got some nice shorter pieces here that blend in from our front and it angles back. So now we're gonna take our top section. It's gonna be very similar to how we did the other side. This is about like almost dead even, creating these final layers on our top either side. Take my first section. I'm gonna angle though a little bit more forward, where last time I just went straight up. And cut. Next section. We're shifting more towards the back now, angling straight up, cut. And what we're gonna do is just follow that through to our back layers here. Beautiful. And then what I wanna do, because this is a whole section, I'm just gonna split it. I'm gonna split it in half. And we're just gonna create a little bit more layers to blend in the sides to this section. So we're gonna angle it over a little bit rather than all the way up. And that'll remove just a little bit more length for some more shape. And then still work our way through the back. So same angling, same movement. One is just, instead of bringing everything forward and angling your hands, you're moving with the head a little bit more. You're still over directing forward slightly, but you're not bringing it all the way straight across. So you're gonna have more movement and more weight taken out, as well as more length. So really the difference in styling is not gonna be a ton. I'm still gonna style them both the same way with my round brush. The biggest difference would be in how often you're gonna get it cut. So the side with more layers, you're gonna need to go in and maintain that haircut a little bit more frequently. Instead of, let's say, every 8 weeks, you might need it every 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks. If you have the more stationary layers, you can go a lot longer before you feel like they're kind of grown out or not laying right, just because they were already longer to begin with. Basically, the shorter your layers go, you always lose your shape much faster. So I'm gonna get her blown out with just a big round brush, and then I will show you guys what it looks like and if we need to do any dry cutting. All right, I got her blown out and I was like, wow, I really love the traveling layered side. I blew up that first. Then I did the stationary side. I was like, well, what do I like better? What you would do with either of these cuts is you would want to come in and see where they need blending and not. I'm not going to worry about that so much because this is more a visualization and I want to really like get detailed with showing you the after shots. But I love how both came out. Like, it looks so good. On the side with the traveling guide, you have quite a bit more of an angle that comes down from the front into the back. You have a little bit more of a disconnect. And then on our stationary side, you have a lot more fullness that remains all the way through. From head on, you can even see how we've got more length and weight here, where on this side, it's missing because we cut into it quite a bit more with the traveling guide. So I'm gonna give her a nice little spray and then show you some really good side-by-side shots to get you guys out of here. Here is our finished and final look. I really wanna give you guys some really good detailed shots. Here on our traveling guide side, you can see how we have so much movement everywhere. All throughout the hair, you have that severe angle that goes from the front through the back to create that butterfly V shape. You do lose a lot more length and weight that would be left in the face if you had done a stationary guide. On our stationary guide, we maintain nice movement still, but it is a longer, softer, layered look overall. There is still an angle that flows from the front to the back, but it's a much more of a natural flow with more weight and length maintained. Looking at this cut from the front, you can see where you maintain more length around the face with that stationary guide. So if you were somebody who wants more length and thickness, you will prefer a stationary guide to the traveling guide for this cut. And through the back, you can see where those layers meet. And again, the traveling guide, they are just a bit more detailed and shorter. Still movement with the stationary guide, but longer and softer looking overall. I hope you all enjoyed this side-by-side comparison. I can't wait to see which one you prefer. Be sure to check out those skincare products from City Beauty that I mentioned, and I will see you guys in the next video.